What is going down, spicy and sourdough squad? That is Jason Aponte. I'm Brad Graham, and we are back for our Wednesday State of the Franchise episode where we talk about what's going on with the 49ers, where they stand as a team, and how they move forward. Obviously, there's been a lot of conversation if you are on Twitter or whatever social media platforms you are about Trent Williams. We will address that topic, but we are going to be talking a lot about the Chargers, a game that maybe could have been better. And we are also going to look at the Cardinals game coming up right now. Let's get it. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Jason, it is good to have you back again. Shout out to 49ers Throwback and the rest of the sourdough and spicy squad. Drop your spicy sourdoughs in the chat. Let us know you're vibing with us. How are you feeling today, Jason?
Great. Thank you for the donation, 49ers Throwback. I would be better if global warming wasn't busting the East Coast ass right now. Like I was literally explaining to you before. You know, it's hard to go from 70 degrees in one weekend to 30 something degrees the next weekend. So, you know, I'm just on the level of extremes that 49ers Twitter is. At one point they're happy and then they're just on the other side somewhere else. So I think a little bit of this
Are they ever happy though?
No, and we're not either,
No.
right? Because
Right.
so as East Coasters, we're like, man, 70 degrees in November doesn't feel right, and then it becomes 30 something degrees, and all of a sudden we're like, man, this doesn't feel right. So yes, just like East Coasters, just like 49ers fans, there's never any happy medium.
And of course, one of the things that we're going to talk about is kind of what's been circulating on Twitter. And again, shout out to Jesse Naylor of Last Second Sports. He was able to find a tell in Trent Williams' kind of stance, which, you know, going back and looking at the tape, you can see it. Like you can see like when it does look like an obvious running down versus a passing down. I wanted to get your take on it. Do you think defenses are really keying on offensive linemen's technique and stances like that? And does it play an issue or pose an issue for 49ers offense in general?
First of all, I want to give props to Jesse. Jesse is one of the hardworking, best content creators there are, and the undeserved hate that is coming his way for an observation in which he took the time to go ahead and look is unwarranted. 100%. I think we all know like why people would go at Jesse and other people. I get similar thoughts. It's only because we consort or are friends with Grant Cohn, right? So I just want to say shout out to Jesse, bro. Like seriously, man. Like there needs to be a discussion about guys who have passion, take their craft serious. Jesse is one of those guys, man. He deserves all of the credit for being able to spark a discussion that has been ablaze not only on Twitter but just like nationally at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like you have national analysts who are actually talking about this, and it has sparked a discussion that I think 49er fans, this is the part that you're missing. This is the time to learn. It's the time to learn now at this point. And I think that a lot of people don't like to be talked down to, but so many people are now giving you information and their insight, and it's a beautiful thing. Every single one of us can learn something from this. I will tell you this, when it comes to lineman stuff, I defer to the people that I look up to in terms of that. Brad, other people like Brett Runback, all these guys that I feel know much more about line play than I'll ever know. So that's why it's hard for me to watch Jesse get all this unwarranted hate for just an observation. In no way did Jesse say Trent Williams is this or Trent Williams is that. He noticed something because he's been putting in the work. And I appreciate that, bro. I really do, man. So shout out to Jesse, man. First of all, shout out to him. Now, the whole discussion about this play, shout out to you, Jesse. For real, man. Like, I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Us content creators, and I'm talking to myself more than anything, we need to stop tearing each other down. I'm talking to myself more than anything. And that's me talking to myself more than anything. You are one of the guys that actually puts in the work. I respect it, and I absolutely admire your work ethic, bro. But it was talked about after week 1, right? Dominique Robinson from the Bears talked about that, right? Okay. Now, here's my take on it. I don't have strong opinions one way or another on this, only because I want to normalize, hey, if I don't know, or if I don't have the proper information, I don't want to give a strong take one way or another, right? I'm going to revert it to a baseball analogy. This is the best way I can put it. I'm a pitcher, you're a hitter. I can tell you, here comes the curveball. You can sit on the curveball, see it come, and swing and miss. I can tell you, I'm going to throw you a fastball. Here comes the heater. Like, if you guys ever seen Major League 2, here comes the old number 1. You get a piece of it, you get to name it. I can tell you all those things are coming. But it doesn't mean you can hit it, right? Trent Williams is here as the best left tackle in the game of football. Probably the best that I've ever seen. I'm ready to die on that hill.
Yeah.
So this isn't something that is like lost upon defenses, defensive coordinators, anything like that. So it's something that a lot of people keep, have noticed. It's not, like what Jesse has done is, through his extensive work, put it out there for people for us to notice, right? Like you and I, we watched all 22, right? Like we didn't notice it. A lot of people didn't notice it. So that's where Jesse deserves his credit, because that just shows the man's putting in work. At the same time, I don't know the ramifications of it. So I don't have a strong opinion one way or another. That's why I'll defer to you in this conversation. And I would love to get your thoughts on this, because I don't want to, one way or another, have a strong opinion, which is either wrong or goes against people who have played the game, because they seem to be chiming in on the same things.
First of all, I think the analogy that you brought up, the baseball analogy, it's perfect, because I had a coach tell me one time, he's like, really, at the end of the day, I do not care if you walk up to the line of scrimmage and you tell the defender, hey, I'm about to reach block you. They still have to stop it, and they have to counteract your technique, and you still have to play the game. So yes, a competitive advantage does come from picking up keys, pre-snap, post-snap, those types of things. We talk about it all the time. But I do think guys like Emmanuel Acho, who chimed in, I think from a defensive perspective, yes, there are keys that they pick up on, but there are so many keys, and there's so many things. Okay, it's a run game, or it's a potential run play. Is it run to the right? Is it a counter? Is it gap scheme? Is it zone? Is it a pitch? Is it stretch? Like, there's so many variations to like picking up a stance tell, which again, shout out to Jesse. I went back and I looked. You can see and you can build the case like, okay, this does look like a run set, but you can also show the same offensive line formation 3 different times, and it's 3 different plays. Run to the right, counter left, and play action. So I get it. It was a good. I've been studying Trent Williams like a hawk, and I didn't put time into trying to discover tells or things like that. So good eye by Jesse to find it, and it sparked this conversation that I appreciate as an offensive lineman. And again, I kind of feel alone sometimes when I'm out here.
O-line's getting talked about. Let's go.
Trying to post my clips, and people are like, oh, it's cool, I guess. But to see a greater conversation about it, and guys chiming in, talking about nuance, why things are occurring, this is what they see, and putting it into a nuanced conversation, that's the really cool part, I think, that came out of this crazy situation from that one tweet that got put out. So back to the conversation about Trent, I do think 2 things can be true. I think he can show in one instance, based on 2.3 point, the way he loads his foot, based on foot placement. Yeah, you can get an idea. But guess what? Kyle Shanahan is throwing motion with you, Debo, CMC, and use check. And what really matters is the manipulation of the linebackers and the safeties. Because if you know it's run, that's fine. But if you get bumped over a gap because of a pre-snap motion, you get played into the offensive line's hands.
100%.
And what are you going to do about that? You got to stop that. So I don't think Kyle Shanahan, I see a lot of concern like, well, what about the rest of the O-line? What about everyone else? I don't think it's a problem because, again, an offensive linemen have a different mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy in those trenches. It is intricate. There are so many. It's all technique, but it looks like big fat guys just running into each other over and over again. But everything they are doing is laced with footwork, hand placement, technique, leverage, body position. There's a rhyme and reason to it all. So the conversation that's been generated has actually been a good one. Now, I know Twitter will take things and do what they do with it and make it a negative conversation. But if you get past that, like the football conversation that's being had, I appreciate because I'm seeing offensive linemen game up other guys and like, this is what it is. And everyone's like agreeing on it. And like, that's cool because it gives everyone else, maybe people who aren't watching tape or finding film like that, an opportunity to be like, okay, there's a lot more nuance going on in those trenches than I could even anticipate, right?
Right. And there's a positive and a negative to everything. The positive is that there is a discussion for people who necessarily don't watch the film all the time and they are learning things. I think if you look at it that way, you can find a bunch of things out that are insightful, right? Like you have defenders, you have former offensive linemen, you have people that are tapping in and telling you what they believe, and that's a beautiful thing. The negative side of it, and I hate keeping harp on this. Stop attacking people personally because of an observation about football, man. My God, Jesse watched this and he pulled it out and
Jason, the other players on the other teams are going to see this.
Oh my God, man! Look, my God, man. This is the negative part of this. And this is, again, I feel like I'm speaking to myself because I haven't done such a good job of being able to avoid negative comments and not responding to them, right? But the way that people are personally attacking Jesse for having this observation, which has sparked a conversation not only through 49ers Twitter, but nationally, is ridiculous, man. There's so many ways to go about voicing your opinion. Going at the man personally is whack, and I think that shit is real corny. And I think that the real thing that anybody who is positive and really thinks about this the right way is this is a chance to learn. And I think a lot of people, I guess the best way to put it is people don't like being talked down to. People want to learn, but they don't want to be talked down to, if that's the best way I can put it. And I don't know what's the happy medium of this. There's a lot of good exploration, and there's a lot of good ways to look at this. There's a lot of good insight being put out there. And it's just, I don't understand why you need to personally attack the man who put in work, figure this out. Had people on the national media side actually say, hey, yo, he's actually right about this tell, but here's why I disagree with why it's a problem. Like, again, the discussions that are happening, and again, I'm talking to myself. Again, I'm mostly talking to myself. The discussions that are being had are not civil, and it's not cool, bro. Like, it's if you're here to learn, you're here to learn, and you should be able to take teaching from people who have played the game, right? But at the same time, personally attacking a guy who's put in work and actually done this, I think that shit is whack. And I think that is the part where I struggle with it. Because there's days when I see the negative people talking crazy about me, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm feeling good today. And then there's certain days where I'm just like, you know what? I'm ready to let it have it. The only people that look bad in these situations, like those type of situations, are us. People like Jesse, people like me, people like you. Like, the problem is we let 9 things slide. One thing we pop off on, and all of a sudden we're the problem. And it's like, man, everybody says it comes with the territory, but seeing all that stuff and being able to respond and not being able to respond to it and not being able to say anything and defend yourself is the problem that I think is happening right now. So many people are just making this personal. Shout out to Jesse, man. Keep working, bro. Like, you deserve all of the credit for bringing this to the forefront, man. And I just want to make sure that's my point at this.
It's a great point. And again, the point that I really love is, again, bringing it back to the football conversation. Like, this is an opportunity for people to learn more about the offensive line and being able to understand what goes into pre-snap, different stances. Offensive linemen have especially offensive tackles, there's a 3-point stance and a 2-point stance, and you have different variations based on what the assignment calls for, and you have free range to do whatever the hell you want. Because at the end of the day, we can make everything look the same, and yes, that's the ideal goal, but the ideal goal is to make the block. So that's the biggest thing overall. Again, we could put a bow on that conversation because it was worth discussing, but we got to win against the Chargers on
3-0 against
Sunday
LA, baby.
Night Football. Clean sweep of the LA teams. What is your
best team in SoFi? Best team in SoFi, I fear.
Oh, I like that. What is your kind of overall just kind of takeaway of that game? Offense, defense, special teams, just kind of your, and we'll kind of drill down.
Look, there's two schools of thought here. After a bye week, all these guys are healthy. You have all of your offensive weapons. You can look at the offense and say you need a little bit more. And I think that's completely fair. I think that's a complete, a completely fair conversation. But for me, I'm choosing to look at this positively for this reason. The NFL is a hard league. Wins are hard to come by. And things don't generally go the way you planned or you thought they would go. Good teams find ways to win those games. Bad teams make excuses after those losses. The 49ers found a way to win the game. And here's the way that I want to frame this. Kyle Shanahan is still playing with his toys, still trying to figure out who's his favorite toy. But I think a lot of that has to do with situation, hot hand, all that stuff, right? All that stuff is true, right? Again, if you would have told me that Elijah Mitchell was going to have more rushing attempts than Christian McCaffrey, I probably would have not agreed with that. But in the scope of the game and the situation, if Elijah Mitchell is running the ball better, I don't care what I spent on Christian McCaffrey, to get him here. It's about winning the game. Also, guys, if you're worried about Christian McCaffrey getting less touches than Elijah Mitchell, do you realize that Christian McCaffrey wasn't brought here to just beat two LA teams? He's here to play in January, and he's also here for a few years. So let's not go crazy about all this, right? If Christian McCaffrey got the ball 30 times, you'd be sitting there, oh, Kyle's running him into the ground. Where's the middle ground, right? Like, again, wins are wins. Find a way to get the job done. Find a way to get the job done, because there's times where you have the perfect game plan and things don't go your way and you lose the game. And there's games when things don't go the way that you think. I mean, did the 49ers think they were going to give up a touchdown in their first drive on 2 coverage busts? No. But you have to find a way to figure out after that, right? So again, you want to look at it negatively and say the offense can't be built like this to go on a deep playoff run. I won't disagree. Good thing the 49ers don't have to play a playoff game next week. They have a regular season game next week. But I am looking at it as this is a team that is showing that no matter what you throw at them, no matter how games unfold, they're going to find a way to win games. By the way, the whole Kyle Shanahan can't win past halftime. Can I, real quick, just cook a little bit, just a little bit?
Please.
4 of the last 6 games that the 49ers have trailed at halftime, they've won. Trends are trends until they're not. And when you start to buck that trend, now, where are those that were the loudest about those things? It's the funniest part to me. Everybody wants to point to a record, but 4 of 6, including playoffs. Weren't they trailing at half against Green Bay? Oh, they were, and they won that game. But yet, look at this record after halftime. Guys, trends are trends until they're not. So for me, the best part about this win is things didn't go exactly how they thought it would go. And the 49ers found a way to scratch and claw and win the game, because give credit to the Chargers. They get paid to play. They have pride. Yes. I don't understand. Wins are wins. There's no way you can walk away from this game feeling like things are negative. If you want to be negative, go be negative. I'm not telling you how to act. But wins are wins, and they're valuable in this league. That's why they're so hard to come by. If everybody could just win every single game, they would. The Philadelphia Eagles just lost a game. It's not easy to win games in this league. Yeah, it's like, so again, Kyle Shanahan, DeMeco Ryans, San Francisco 49ers, enjoy. That's it. That's it.
And it's funny. We started talking about this, just kind of about the general discourse amongst, Twitter, social media. People weren't really happy about this win. It wasn't good enough. It was, and that is disappointing. It's unacceptable. I even saw some fire Kyle Shanahan's dripped into there. It's like, I get it. Like, I can agree to it a certain extent. When we look at that offense, we look at Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk, George Kittle, Elijah Mitchell comes back, Kyle Juszczyk, Jimmy G's playing some of the best ball that we've seen in a 49er jersey. Yeah, we could maybe want to see a little bit more higher scoring output, maybe a little bit better blocking consistently up front, things like that. But it takes a lot of different pieces and moving parts to get a victory in this league week to week. We don't say any given Sunday just because it's a cool cliche and it makes us sound edgy. Like, these are all professional athletes, and you never know who's going to bring the juice that day. And the Chargers came out. You talked about it. They came storming down the field, and Justin Herbert hit a beauty to DeAndre Campbell for a touchdown. My whole section, I was at Levi Stadium. They're like, "Oh God, like
here we go."
Like, what the hell, man?
And you know what's funny is Twitter. Oh my God, D'Amico Ryans. If Old Takes Exposed got a hold of 49ers Twitter tweets during the game, they would get fried, and it would be a problem more than anything. It's just, my thing is, I get it. Passions are high. We're passionate fan base. We're deep. Guys, calm down. And what I will say about this is, more than anything, that first drive had little to do with a game plan and more to do with two coverage busts. Two of them. The big play to Austin Eckler was a coverage bust. The touchdown was a coverage bust. Doesn't necessarily mean that D'Amico Ryans came out in the wrong game plan. It was right there. They just, unfortunately didn't execute to start the game. That's it. So again, and I thought I saw a Rams fan chime in here. Your season's over, and I'm not gonna stop cooking the Rams. So,
I think it was Adam Schefter just reported Cooper Kupp to IR.
Your only weapon, and you lost two more linemen.
Alaric Jackson to IR, their backup tackle.
RIP to the 5 Rams fans. What I want you to do is this. I want you to fire up your YouTube and watch last year, because you have nothing to do with this year anymore. I'm sorry. I will not sit here and allow a Rams fan to come in here and say anything negative against a team that bust their ass 2 straight times and effectively ended their season. Goodbye, Rams. Get cooked, get fried. Stop talking to 49ers fans, please.
Anytime Jason can cook the Rams, he's for it, and
I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go, right? You know the whole saying, Brad, don't kick a man where they're down. I don't subscribe to that. I don't. Cub Goat, there's more than 5. You're 6 then. So all 6 of you, RIP. Your season's over, blood.
RIP,
y'all have nobody to throw the ball to. Pray for Matthew Stafford. Nothing's wrong with him. He just has to drop back against many defenses with that offensive line and nobody to throw to. Stop coming here to talk, because we are cooking you. We are going to be in the playoffs. The Rams aren't. Like, I just don't understand why you come here constantly for this. If you want to get roasted, I'm here for it. But stop it, please. I'm sorry. Your season's over. Maybe next year. It's the best way we can put it.
Oh, we got Coach dropping in a 20-piece on us. Shout out, Coach, as always, for the contributions and, of course, bringing insight to the discussion. He says, this one sealed it for me. This fan base doesn't deserve this team. We've grown from desperate for a win to barely appreciating one. Quite frankly, it's disgusting. Only fan base that bets against the head coach but roots for the team.
There's so
it's
many
not just
people
the head coach. It's not just the head coach, too.
It's the quarterback.
Mike McGlinchey, dare I say,
and the quarterback.
Garoppolo.
Right.
Woo!
It's all right. Again, confirming priors, all that stuff, all of those things. Coach, thank you for the donation. But confirming priors, all those things. And it's like, if the 49ers would have won by 50, you would have said, well, Jimmy missed his throw and Jimmy did. Guys, calm down. It's a win's a win. If they go out there and they destroy the Cardinals on Monday Night Football, certain people are just going to find things to be upset about. That's it. Like, that's it. At this point, it is what it is. But yeah, coach nailed it right there. And there's a small section of 49ers fans, and I don't want to pick on them, but I do think it's funny. Well, I watched this team in the 80s, and I don't accept. What are you going to do about it? What do you mean accept? You think that we accept losing? Like, we don't accept it. We have nothing to do with it. It's just so funny to me that like there's just like the discussion. Well, I've been watching this team, and they won 4 Super Bowls during my watch. So what? I don't understand why you feel the need to talk down to 49ers fans because you think they're accepting. Accept what? You have no control over it. None. You have no control over it. It's just always those older 49er fans that are like, back in my day, no one cares. Back in your day. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I really don't. It's just funny to me that people still use this sort of logic and rhetoric about, I am from the time when we didn't accept, and it was, who accepts it? There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And Cup, I wish that we could play you again in the playoffs, but I fear you're not going to be there for us to fix that. So keep getting cooked.
And to be fair, like, I do think there is room for critique. There's room for saying, hey, maybe here, maybe there. We would like to see things, or you can see a path forward where things can be corrected or improved upon or become more efficient. I don't think that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the people who are just get up out of bed, wake up, and are just angry. They get on Twitter or in my comments on Instagram, and they're angry about a W. So I get it. It wasn't the prettiest W, but part of what football is grit, is taking that punch in the face and being able to get back up and keep swinging. Hopefully one of them lands, and you could lose. I mean, I'm not even a big boxing fan or UFC fan, but you could lose however many rounds. All it takes is that one punch to knock him out. You win, champion of the world. Like, so it's not always going to be pretty. And the beautiful thing about football is it's often about who makes the least amount of mistakes, not who does it the most perfect. So back to this win with the Chargers. Yeah, it was a little slow. I called it stale from offensively from that first half. It wasn't all that great, but they were able to get it back. They made the second half adjustments. You talked about the second half trends. They were behind, and they were able to win that game. And the defense showed up, especially down the stretch. Defensive line, Fred Warner, guys balled out. You got to give them credit. Got to give credit where credit's due. Can't just be angry all the time, right?
Yeah, and again, I understand against a more healthy opponent, a better opponent, I'm sure you probably couldn't get away with that offensive performance. And that's fair. Again, that's a valid discussion. It's a valid criticism. The 49ers have 8 weeks to figure this out, though. And again, don't tell me about what's going to happen in a deep playoff run when there's 8 weeks to figure out not only what the 49ers are, but what the NFC is. What if the Philadelphia Eagles lose 4 straight games going forward? And all of a sudden the 49ers are in play for the number 1 seed. There's no point in getting wrapped up in, well, this is what they'll do in the playoffs when there's 8 weeks and we don't even know what the playoffs will look like and where the 49ers will be. So look, I understand hypotheticals drive sports conversations. I'm not telling you to not think that way. What I'm saying is to not put too much stock into what you found on week 10, as opposed to if in week 18, let's just say the 49ers go out there and they score 30 points every single game from now on. Are you going to still feel the same way? So don't back yourself into a corner, unfortunately, with your takes, because we have a lot of time to figure this out. Now, I understand. Makes sense. Week 10, we're still having the same questions. I get that. 100% get that. That doesn't mean that they can't be fixed, though. Now, if it doesn't get fixed, then your complaints are valid, more valid, right? Like you get to be able to say, hey, listen, this is what I thought. Cool. I just don't believe in absolutes in week 10. I don't understand that portion of it. Like, there's so much more football to be played. There's so much more for the landscape of the NFC to happen. Injuries happen, right? Like, remember last year, 3-5. Oh, we don't know what's going on or whatever. Well, DeAndre Hopkins gets hurt, and all of a sudden the Cardinals fade, and teams fall in and out of this playoff stuff. So again, week 10, completely understand. You have the same complaints that we did in week 4. I hear you. But it doesn't mean that's what this team will be when they get to the playoffs, which, obviously I'm saying that they're going to make the playoffs. But we have a lot of time. And that's the point more than anything. We just have a lot of time. That's it.
And we'll get to that conversation here in a second, especially with the Cardinals coming up, Mexico City, NFC West opponent. But if you had to give a critique of the 49ers performance against the Chargers, what would it be?
You had a whole bye week to figure out a game plan to get everybody involved. And it felt like that game plan, whatever it was, kind of changed due to the way the game was rolling. And the part that bothers me more than anything is the red zone efficiency. And again, here we are talking about the same things again and again with the red zone, right? Drop touchdown, Brandon Aiyuk. A little stumble from Elijah Mitchell, not a touchdown, right? Like, that probably is a walk-in touchdown. I would say my biggest critique is coming into this bye week with the reinforcements and everybody being healthy, and you figure that Kyle Shanahan was going to be able to figure this out and go ahead and really construct a game plan against a team that was bottom half in rush defense, right? Like, we joked all week about like Kyle's going to cook, and
we thought they were going to run the football down their throats, it was going to be over.
I think that's it. I think that's it more than anything. Is sure, it was enough this week, right? But coming out of the bye week, it felt a little disappointing because you expected the 49ers to put on a show on Sunday Night Football against this defense with all the weapons healthy off of a bye week with all these reinforcements. So that's my critique. And also, Kyle, please, man, 4th down, please, dude, please. Just look, I'm not telling you to go for it on every 4th down because that's just silly. But here and there, when the game is like in the balance and you have a chance to like really like stomp this game out, let's, for a lack of a better term, let's put the nuts on the table. I just want to see that a little bit more. So I'm not telling you every 4th down you need to go for it. But damn it, if it's 4th and 1, quarterback sneak is undefeated. Like, all these things that you can do, right? I just want to see a little bit more on 4th down. That's my critique. That's it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Again, in the stands, the entire felt like stadium was like, go for it, Kyle. Like, people were yelling at him to go for it. And again, you got the most elite quarterback sneaker in the world in Jimmy Garoppolo. So why not
Best
do
in
it?
the world.
Best in the world. Shout out my guy DJ. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead first.
Real quick. Kyle, so for the first time, someone stopped the quarterback sneak, and Kyle said, nah. Run it back and do it again. And Jimmy did it again. So, like, that should go to show you, if you have that confidence in him to do it there, come on, at the goal line, we got to be able to, like, figure it out, like, closer there. The red zone, see, there's a drop-off from last year's red zone numbers to this year. You're not going to beat better teams with field goals. And I think that's one of the better complaints. Yeah.
Absolutely. My guy DJ, good to see you. DJ says that works. Smash that like button. It says, grab my hat, bro. Let's go. Hat is right there. I was trying to get it. It's in the damn box. I gotta just send it. My ADHD is getting in the way, but it's right there. I'm looking at it. I promise.
Send it, Brad. Cook him.
He even said, "Look, 49ers. I love the win. Hat, Brad. Hat. It's right there.
Cook him.
I'm looking
Cook him. Don't get off his neck. Cook him, man. He don't answer texts and he don't send hats. These are the things. These are my two biggest complaints about Brad Graham.
Yes, it's a weird issue that I have, but I'm trying to work through it. I swear. I put it in a box. It's right there. I just actually have to take it to freaking FedEx. Oh goodness! But just like FedEx be shipping all over the place, Jimmy Garoppolo's been shipping that ball like into pretty good windows, man. Like that,
Woo.
you talked about that loss to the drop from Brandon Aiyuk,
Mhm.
dude. Brandon cooked
What
that
a route.
cornerback. Oh man, and it was like also too Jimmy Garoppolo. He started off. It looked like the primary is George Kittle to the right side of the formation. They bracket him. Looks like the next read is going to either be Debo, Jawan, depending on 2-3 responsibility. But the route by Aiyuk, like he knew that. Like he knew that he was going to be maybe the last target on that
Mhm.
or like deep into the progression. And he just, dude, he did the stutter, went back out, stutter, cut in, completely twisted up the cornerback. And it's the drop, and he also had the fumble, but it's also
Mhm.
what 4 games in a row where Brandon Aiyuk has
Over 80.
over 80. What
Yep.
what do you think about that?
I have some stats. Something that I love to cite. I'm a big wide receiver guy. Brad knows this. I love wide receivers. They are my favorite thing to watch. I think there's beauty in route running. That's why I am so happy for Justin Jefferson being the number one wide receiver in the world. And if you have a problem with that, you should argue with the wall. But
That catch better than OBJ's?
yes,
Yes, it was
given
like
given
OBJ's catch on steroids.
given the fourth down in that magnitude, and he ripped a ball away from somebody who had two hands on it. Yes, Justin Jefferson's the best in the world. And if you haven't figured that out, that's fine. Like it'll take you some time, you'll get to it. But I use this tool called Reception Perception, which is by Matt Harmon, who does amazing work. Yes, a fantasy football guy, but Matt Harmon has found a way to marry his numbers with actual numbers, right? So today, I actually subscribe to his newest thing where he's doing in season stuff. Okay. Right now, Brandon Aiyuk, while he's lined up as the X receiver, which is outside on 81% of his snaps, and he's on the line for 83.8% of the snaps, his success rate against man has jumped from 71% to 77%, and from zone 80% to 81.7%. Right now, what you're watching is the development of a wide receiver one. A lot of people are not going to like this take, but I'm going to say it with my whole chest. Brandon Aiyuk is the best wide receiver on this team. Debo Samuel is the best offensive weapon on this team. Not the same thing in any way, if that makes any sense. Both need to be utilized in their proper ways. But what you're watching is the growth of Brandon Aiyuk. And I couldn't be happier for it because we talk all the time about missed draft picks. This is not a missed draft pick. Brandon Aiyuk is evolving in front of you. Even if he doesn't get the ball, it's a joy to watch him bake cornerbacks, the best in the world, right? In 2020, we watched him be the only guy on the field, go against Tre'Davious White, go against the best number one corner and do his thing. Obviously, last year it didn't start as well because of the doghouse thing, whatever it is, but you're watching what we thought we were going to see last year from the gate. Brandon Aiyuk is evolving. And this all stems from what we saw in training camp, Brad. In training camp, day in, day out, he was the best player on the field. And he's
Yep.
continuing that play, man. Look, the fumble, cool. I get it. That kind of felt like a freak play because he kind of got pushed into it and it was a helmet that like
Yeah.
knocked his thing out. And then the drop. Look, if you don't believe that was a drop, go look at Brandon Ayuk's IG stories. And he posted that he was sick because he didn't
Oh,
catch
hell
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a drop. If it hits his hands, if it hits him in the chest, that's a drop. So yes, Brandon Ayuk is still evolving though. And I still feel that we haven't seen the best from him. But it's a beautiful thing to watch as a 49er fan, to watch somebody progress in this manner. Shout out to Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, no, I think you said it great. And he also came back and had a huge play to be able to put the 49ers in scoring position where Christian McCaffrey takes it in for like a 2-yard run. But really good catch on that particular play where Jimmy actually threw it a little behind him and he had to go back and get that thing. So I think you said it really, really well because I think the effort's there. When we look at wide receivers, we're like, is the effort there on every play, even when they're not getting the ball, whether it's blocking, whether it's running routes away, he's doing it. The effort's there. So it's not for lack of effort. It's not for a lack of trying. It's just, hey, still putting it together. But Brandon Ayuk is emerging, and he could have a pretty epic second half run here. especially with the ways that Kyle Shanahan uses Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. So I'm really looking forward to what Brandon Aiyuk is going to continue to do. And I don't know if he needed any more motivation, but I'm sure having an opportunity to make a big time play like that on prime time, plus, again, I agree. I think the fumble is a bit of a freak thing. He got spun into another defender and they got helmet to helmet. They didn't call it, but hell, dude, that's a hard ball to hold on to when you're getting smacked like that, with all that momentum and everything. So I'm interested to see how Brandon Aiyuk continues to evolve. And it really does look like Jimmy Garoppolo and Brandon Aiyuk are starting to develop that kind of chemistry and things like that. Since you are the big receiver guy, though, I do want to get your opinion on Juwan Jennings.
Woo!
3rd and Juwan, baby. That boy's cooking out there.
So this is my analysis on Juwan Jennings goes a little bit beyond just X's and O's. Doesn't it feel like Juwan Jennings heard all the OBJ talk and said, ho, slow down, bro. like, did you forget that I'm here?
That impacts me. If they sign OBJ, I'm not getting on 100%.
The field. 100%. 20 receptions on 3rd down. He's converted 18 of them. This game doesn't go the way that we thought it would without those 3rd down conversions. And I kind of want to bring it back to Jimmy before I get back to Juwan. Jimmy was nails on 3rd down and 3rd and long. Obvious passing downs as well, too. Obvious passing downs.
Not one to Ray too.
Right, dude. That improvisational throw to Jimmy, from Jimmy to Ray, that's one of the better throws that I've seen. That felt like 2017, and that's the second time he's done that. Can I correlate that to the LA game real quick? Yes, I can real quick. Christian McCaffrey runs that same route where he's just a guy who is just bringing direction that way. Guess what? Improv. I look at you, you look at me, you go, I throw it. Look at Jimmy. I just want to say that. And then
so inspirational.
I think the best throw is the one to Aiyuk where he throws the ball before Aiyuk gets out of his break, right past the sticks. And Aiyuk has a guy draped on him, and he turns, and that ball's right on it, man. Look, it's okay, guys. Jimmy's playing well. It's okay. Can you say it with me? Jimmy's playing well. That's it. Jimmy's playing. Jimmy's playing well.
Don't be mad at it. We want him to play well.
It's okay, guys. It's okay to say that. But back to Juwan Jennings. It certainly feels like he heard all of the stuff going into the week, and he definitely heard all of the things about Odell Beckham and without him, being able to break ankles and not only run through tackles, those 3rd downs don't get converted. So I want to say we've been very critical. Well, I've been very critical of Juwan Jennings because he had a bit of a drops issue in training camp. It kind of carried over into the season. Feels like he's kind of turned the corner with that. Juwan Jennings continues to be a guy that Jimmy Garoppolo you want to talk about tells? Do you want to talk about tells? Well, Juwan Jennings is on the field on 3rd down. I can guarantee you I know where Jimmy Garoppolo is going with the ball on that 3rd down. Like he threw it to George Kittle one time, but every other time is basically Juwan Jennings. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to him for sticking with it and continuing to play through the struggles that he had early on. Without him, I don't know if this game goes this way. So yes, I do want to give credit to Juwan Jennings 100%.
100%. And again, we talked about the Aiyuk drop touchdown. You have to give credit to Juwan for drawing a double team. It was Juwan and Kittle that drew a double team that gave Aiyuk the one-on-one opportunity. So Juwan's been great, and he put that defender on skates, man. He's just, and you can also see that the rapport that Jimmy Garoppolo and him have together. So it's pretty nice to see. We got a couple super chats in here. Let's get through them really quick. DJ says, LML, laughing my ass off, Jason. It's been a while. Smash that like button. Smash that like button on both channels if you haven't already.
Make him send the hat, DJ. Don't get off his neck, man. Make him send the hat.
I accept all heat for not sending the hat yet, but I swear to God, it's in the box right there. Jason says, Mama, I'm still waiting for that merch too, Brad. I'm on your head. Get on me, man. Jason, I need it.
Jason, cook his ass. Do not let him slide, man. Cook him, please.
Please cook me, because I need to get my SHIT together, man. Let's go. We're gonna get it though, I promise you. Corey Soto says, when did the Cardinals get to 5-4?
I think he means, wait, what?
Monday more important than I thought. Look forward to it. I'm looking at the Cardinals record right now. I see 4-6.
4-6. Yeah, I think
4-6.
They won the battle of the backups.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't know.
Corey, if you have clarification, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll pull it up.
They're
Thank
chasing
you
the
as
Seattle
always.
Seahawks. They're chasing the Seattle
Yes.
Seahawks, which is an evergreen statement. Hey, Brad, I might be in Seattle. I might just take a flight in, flight out that
Let's
day.
go.
I gotta go.
We
I
got
gotta go there. I think I gotta be there for this in that stadium for probably the biggest game of the season because it
Bro,
does
this
feel
game's
like
gonna
that's
be
gonna be.
litty, and
Yeah.
if we can link
hmm
up in Seattle, it's going to be
Oh,
lit.
and you know who else is gonna be there, man? I don't really care anymore.
Oh yes.
It sounds it sounds like Rich Madrid's gonna be there, man. He's taking a day off and he's gonna cook our ass and tell us not, keep watching the damn tape. I'm tired of it. What is it? Is it tape or film with Rich? I don't know. Like we have to ask him because I think he
It's
says,
interchangeable.
yeah, right. Like tape is for peasants, film is for I don't know. Shout out to Rich though. But yeah,
I
he's
don't know,
definitely
man.
on my
Christ,
neck right now.
man.
Like, oh Christ, man, are you gonna get to the game or not, man? We go or what?
Yeah, dude, that Thursday night game, man, against
It's
the
gonna be lit.
freaking 6-4 Seahawks right now. Woo!
Mhm.
It's gonna be a good
Mhm.
one. Coach says, quick question. You ever find it funny how everyone who critiques Kyle just coincidentally knows so much about offensive football? Most people don't want to admit they only know what Kyle has shown them. What are your thoughts on that?
That's fair. I'm just talking about like aggressiveness. I'm not talking about like I don't critique play design, all that stuff, because I still think all that stuff is there. I think again, it all boils down to if you're talking about inefficiency, execution, and certain things. Some things are bad luck in certain spots. I do not critique play calling. I don't. That's not my thing. I'm just talking about on fourth down. There's a book that when you open it up and it says on this play, it's 53% likely that you're going to get on fourth down or 47%, whatever it is. And then there's feel, right? So the book should only go with what you feel. If you feel, and you've been watching the game with game flow, and you've been watching how your team has been executing, you feel that you can get that. I'd like to just see him one or two more times. Go for it on fourth down. Trust me, bro. I am not here to criticize Only Shans. I am not here to criticize his play calling, anything like that, because those plays are still to be made. When you watch the all 22, there's guys running wide open. There's always a reason for why the offense is a little bit off. And I guess maybe that kind of falls back on Kyle, but I do not know anywhere near what that man knows. So do not mistake me critiquing his fourth down aggressiveness for knowing more than him or implying that I know more than him, because that's absolutely not true.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, the plays are there to be made, and they're shout out Johnny Dale. He put out a great film breakdown as he does every week, and again, that was a big part of what kind of the offense was. It was they're one step away from one block here, one correct leverage piece here, and you're looking at huge gains. One correct cut and read from the ball carrier, big plays. So they're there. Like the potential is definitely there, but it's comorbid. You got to call it at the right time, and you also it's got to be executed. Both things go hand in hand. So you can't always just it's like Kyle's the end all be all with everything. Right. And if they're not executing on the field, it's always Kyle's fault. It's always going to land on Kyle's plate because he's that coach, and that's the way it works. But you also have to look at the nuance. There's execution that needs to be had.
And coach, I didn't necessarily mean that you meant that like directly towards me. I'm just trying to tell you like, where I stand with it. Like all these books that I have behind my head that like help me, learn more that I can correlate with film. Basically I've got a Rams, Packers, 49ers, Browns book behind me. All of those are offshoots of Kyle's offense. So, I'm not, necessarily saying that. I'm just saying, I understand the subtleties. I understand the complexity of the offense and things like that. It's just, my biggest criticism, because no coach is perfect. No coach does everything perfectly. Not even our coach. Is just on fourth down. I would just, just here and there. If you feel like he did it last year against the Rams on Monday Night Football. Fourth down is 6 or something like that. And he threw a pass to Deebo Samuel. Deebo housed that thing and ended the game, right? 4th and 6. What made you feel like that was the move right there? And then sometimes on 4th and 1, whatever, it's just like, oh, bring gold out. And it's like, damn, like sometimes I would love to see you have that same sort of killer instinct. Sometimes that little feel sometimes is the difference between leaving the game still in the balance and you being able to put the game away. And that's all I meant by that.
Yeah, absolutely. But Speaking of we talked a little bit about the Seahawks, how big of a game that is. What do you look at when you look at the Cardinals this week in Mexico, which it does sound like so far it's being reported. I think Nick Wagner put it out of ESPN. 82% 49er fans going to show up. Are you
Makes
surprised?
sense?
Probably not.
No.
But two, you got a 4-6 Cardinals team who's playing under, I think, their own expectations. You've got Hollywood Brown activated from IR, I believe. Oh, there we go. Let's go.
I got that on my last trip to Mexico, but yeah. I'm sorry. Keep
You
going.
got Hollywood Brown activated, Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury. What's your take? What's your take about this Cardinals team?
They're scrambling a bit right now at this point. They don't have a semblance of consistency. If the 49ers are inconsistent with what they're doing, then trust me, just go watch the Cardinals. If it makes you feel better, it should, because they don't have a running game. And I think Jeremy Fowler actually reported that Kyler Murray is looking closer to missing this game and might be out for a little bit long. Yes, is a little bit closer to missing this game than he is
I didn't
playing.
see that.
Yeah, I thought it was Jeremy Fowler. I could be wrong. But watching them, they have a ton of talent, right? Look, I'm not going to say that Kyler Murray is not talented. I think he is. DeAndre Hopkins has come back. He's really pissed off at the fact that people just stopped remembering him because of his PED suspension, and he's been incredible. But I think the name of the game becomes just keeping Kyler Murray in the pocket, making him beat you from the pocket. And I think the 49ers have kind of shown that they can do that, especially when you look at last year when they faced the 49ers, when they faced the Cardinals in Trey Lance's first start. DeMeco Ryans kind of figured out how to keep him in the pocket, keep him and make him step up. Look, I this isn't a short joke, but making him step up in the pocket and having see over those guys is probably the best way for you to do it. Right now, they just feel disjointed. They do. They just feel disjointed. I implore you guys to watch Hard Knocks. I think the second episode's out. I haven't been able to check that one out. The first episode kind of lets you know where they are offensively. Everybody just feels to be like on the wrong page. Zach Ertz is not going to be in this game. I do love Trey McBride, though, so he'll be able to step into this game. I think Trey McBride, who almost killed me at the Senior Bowl.
I remember that. Yeah. That's when we saw you on TV at the Senior Bowl on the sideline, almost get taken out.
Yeah, so DeMeco's going to have a plan for it. I don't think they're nearly as dangerous as they once were. They're playing for their season on Monday. They're playing for their season. They lose this game, it's over. I do have faith that the 49ers are going to be able to get this done. I do love the plan of the 49ers practicing in Colorado Springs, which has raised elevation, not to the effect of Mexico City. But my first grasp on this game is the 49ers should be able to handle business if they take care of the things that they can take care of. And I feel like this is an evergreen statement. Don't kill yourself with penalties. Don't miss blocks. Don't drop passes. Don't turn the ball over. You should be fine. So, yeah, I do think the 49ers come out of this game with a victory. And the Cardinals need this one in a bad way. So maybe in one way you can look at it and say the Cardinals are going to come out inspired because their season's on the line. But I just think that when you have a large enough sample size of what this offense is, Cliff's hanging by a thread, Kyler feels a little out of it. I think the new Call of Duty just dropped, so that can't help. I couldn't resist. But yeah, I do think the 49ers are going to take care of business at this point.
Well, I did hear a saying just recently. I think someone said the hungry dog runs the fastest. And right now, those Cardinals, man, they might not look great, but I think they understand what's on the line. Like, we're talking about if this season goes the wrong way for Cliff Kingsbury, he's probably out, right? He's probably not going to be the head coach next year.
Yeah, you can't get rid of the quarterback that you signed to a long deal.
No, they paid him all that money.
Right, like a long deal. Like coaches, it's easier to get away from, but that, like, all of this felt disjointed coming into the season, right? Like you and I were at the combine, right? And then you see Kingsbury come to the and Keim, they come to the podium and they seem to be on different pages. And then all of a sudden, while we're at the combine, both are extended. And it's like, wait, you extended both of them, but you didn't extend the quarterback. And it's just like somebody's head's got to roll for this because this team was expected to do a little bit more. I just don't think that it's going to be Kyler.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay Jurdy says, no worries at all. Teams often look rusty after the buys. Team found rhythm with more game time. I expect a much better game against Arizona, and I kind of agree. I think, you know, they're used to this road trip thing. I'm not going to hold that against them. Both teams have to travel in this instance. Both teams have to play an elevation, which they're not used to doing. So it's a neutral site, even though there's going to be a lot of 49er fans. Still, again, travel plays into this, playing out of your element, all those different types of things. But the Cardinals, on one hand, I do believe they will come out playing inspired ball because it's the San Francisco 49ers. Just like we look at any division opponent, you show up for those games. There's just a different mentality when it comes to in-division games, especially in the NFC West. The 49ers got boat raced by Colt McCoy. That will never leave me, ever.
Revenge game.
So, big time revenge game. So, as long as these teams are playing in the NFC West, I said it earlier, any given Sunday, anything can happen. You got to go out and do exactly what you said. Execute, play your style and brand of football, and just do what you got to do. Ultimately, at the end of the day, because if the 49ers don't do that, we've seen what happens. They beat themselves ultimately in the end, more so than the opponent beating them. I think that's the biggest thing to take away. And looking at the Cardinals, again, what version of the 49ers are we going to get? Are we going to get the team that's firing on all cylinders? And if so, things should go in the right direction. But we've also seen the opposite, where if it doesn't go the right way, it doesn't go the right way in a hurry. So things to keep an eye out for. Green Thumb says no room to take anybody lightly. Got to go hard, and that's it.
Well,
that's it.
We don't play, so we can say what we want.
You don't play for the 49ers, Jason?
No, I don't. I think the 49ers won't take them lightly, though. I think the 49ers, trust me, you don't want me playing. You saw my hands at Pasquini's Pro Day. You don't want me out there.
Bro, Pasquini's Pro Day, legendary.
But yeah, I don't think the 49ers are going to take this lightly. And I do think that there is a hesitance to calling divisional games in a certain way because those are very weird, right? Like you just watched the New York Jets knock off the Buffalo Bills. You see games where the Lions beat the Bears.
Beat the Eagles.
The Commanders beat the Eagles. Those games are always weird, right? So there's no room to take them lightly. For sure. We can take them lightly, but I don't think the 49ers will.
Yeah, definitely. Right as an Eagles fan pops into the chat too.
Have we kept account of like what fans have been in our chats? Like, because I have Rams, I got that Nutjob Bears guy. We have that one Jets
Don
fan.
Burr goated.
Don Burr the GOAT. I think I saw some Chiefs fans in one of those. So like I think we're starting to get like closer and closer to like the full 32 teams being
the algorithm is putting us out in front of other fan bases.
Mm-hmm. Like, and it's like it's funny because like the 49ers will win and their fan base will be like, you still suck. I'll be like, well, if we suck, then what happened to you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just funny to me. But yeah, Don Burr definitely the GOAT. Don Burr the GOAT because he went crazy in that week during the chat. And when they lost,
he went crazy for like 2 months leading up to that week 1 game.
But he came back and he stood in the box. Don Burr is a 49ers Twitter, YouTube legend, and we salute him. So, like, if you're going to come here and give it to us, come back and catch it when your team doesn't get it done. So that's the one thing I'll give Cowboys fans after last year's playoff game is I had a whole week of, like, making fun of the Cowboys and telling them, like, yo, do you know who you are? Do you know who we are? Like, do you know what your MO is? Like, and they were like, oh, well, this year's different. And then a bunch of them pulled back up and they sent donations. So shout out to the Cowboys fans for being accountable.
Yeah, they got roasted. Those memes that came out of that game. That was a lot of fun. Gammon Brown says 2 things I want for Christmas. 1, Mike McGlinchey getting praise for plays he does well. Not gonna lie, I was not expecting that. 2, Kittle getting more touches.
You lead the McGlinchey thing. You lead it. I have thoughts. You lead it.
I'll lead the McGlinchey thing. Like we've talked about it before. It's a weird it's become its own thing. Like it's almost like, memes or whatever that it's a narrative now. And I get it. Offensive line play, it's not glamorous, it's not pretty. When you get beat, everyone sees it. It looks bad. And sometimes those beats are bad. Like, let's call it what it is. Like, sometimes he gets walked back. He gets his feet tripped up. It's not pretty. It's just a hard conversation to have these days with 49ers fans because, unfortunately, that's not truly how offensive linemen are judged within a building. Within the building, they see every snap and they grade every snap, and it's a body of work outcome. Of course, big moments, got to have it plays. You don't want to crumble and give something up. But at the same time, he's also doing things well outside of it's a hard conversation to have.
I agree with everything that you said. People don't run to the timeline to post positive McGlinchey plays when he pancakes somebody or anything like that. They just remember the times that he misses on blocks, and he does, and it just happens at the inopportune time. Mike McGlinchey, if you're watching, here's my message to you, buddy. There's nothing you can do about what people are going to say about you. So what I want you to do is this: take your phone and put it in the blender. Please stay away from social media. And please stop listening to the fans. You know, I know he's listening to the fans, Brad. This week, leading up to the game, he talks about, well, I know that fans wish that Derwin James was here. Dude, okay, strike one. Strike two. Well, I know that I'm socks and underwears to 49ers fans, alluding to the draft pick Christmas present that they got with him. Strike two. John Lynch saying he's a victim of social media. Joe Staley saying Mike needs to block all this stuff out. Mike, I'm not going to tell you how to fix it. I don't know how you fix it because I'm not an offensive line guru. And I don't know if this is the reason. I know that social media is not helping. Please, man, if people need to contact you, tell them to call you on your landline. Take your phone, put it in the blender, internalize, watch your film, go to the building, come back, and do the same thing over and over again. I need you to stay away from social media, please. I don't want to talk crazy about 49ers fans, but we are the most reactionary,
Ruthless
over the top fans. So please, Mike McGlinchey, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if this is the problem. I just know looking at social media doesn't help. Does not help, man, because people will not highlight the 51 good snaps that you had. No. They'll highlight the 3 that you had that were bad.
And then it'll go viral, and it'll just...
That's why. Just stay
everyone's
away from
dogging you, atting you.
Just stay away from it. Take the phone and put it in the blender, buddy. That's it, Mike. That's it, bro. I'm rooting for you. I don't know what else to say at this point. It's getting harder and harder to, help you, or defend you. But I know social media is not helping. And you have alluded to it. One last thing that Mike McGlinchey has done that I know for a fact that he's listening to social media. You struggled a bit, you have a good game, and then you tweet, still here. Mike, stop listening.
Was that in the 2020?
Yeah,
2020.
Stop listening to social media. Take the phone and go dark. Fake read a book like LeBron does when in the playoffs.
So you're saying pull a Jimmy Garoppolo. Just be Jimmy.
Yeah.
Just be a ghost on social media.
Be LeBron, right, in the playoffs. Have a book in your hand. Act like you've been reading and you went dark.
You're 3 pages in every book that you were seeing.
Every book, you're the same page. That's it. Like, go away from social media, please, Mike, man. I know that this isn't the reason. A lot of it has to do with play, but this isn't helping. That's it. Just be like LeBron, bro. Like, all you got to do is just, go up there, and when they ask you about the book, just give some general answer, which shows you didn't read the book. But yeah, please, don't listen to anybody on Twitter. Stop being on social media. Please, I implore you.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. And, I get both sides of it. I've interviewed Mike twice, and I really do love the person. But a lot of fans don't give 2 shits about that. Let's keep it 100. Like, they don't care if you're the coolest guy, great leader, whatever. If you're not producing on the field, or they perceive you're not producing on the field, then they're going to come after your neck, especially this fan base. And unfortunately, we understand the narratives. And he had a really rough 2020, and it's been trying to work back. And then he tears his freaking, was it like the patella tendon or whatever it was?
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, he was like,
back from that.
He was like, it was basically 95% away from being career ender. Like the 5% that it was holding on has basically saved his career from him being actually able to play this year. And he's been banged up. You see him limping, and it started in training camp. He missed big part of training camp preseason. Then he gets back right in time for the season. gets hurt again. It's been a lot of other issues, but again, fans don't care about that stuff. They want results, and they don't want to see the highlights. And when they see the highlights, it makes their blood boil. And I can understand that side of it. Like, I can't sit here and pretend like you can't feel that. Like, if I was clocking in a 9 to 5, I didn't do 49ers content, I show up on Sunday, I want to see the San Francisco 49ers win me a football game, and you get a kind of unfortunate third down play from Mike McGlinchey that it feels like it's becoming a trend, and you see the rest of everyone else being just freaking livid about it. I totally understand, like, just hopping on and being like, get this guy out of here. It is what it is. But I do think there's something to it. Like, I know he's on social media. I know he sees this stuff. I know people at him constantly in my comments, just adding him out. I'll post a clip about Spencer Burford. I'll post a clip about Aaron Banks. Oh, Mike McFloppy, get this guy out of here. I'm just like, dude, this isn't even about. It's not even about Mike.
It's
This is about the other guy.
It's unproductive, man. It's unproductive at this point. Like, you just have to find a way to, like, go completely dark. And I do think that it's easier for NFL players to do that because there's so much work that goes in during the week in terms of game planning, practicing, and then you have to spend time with your family and stuff like that. So, I just want Mike to know that listening to this stuff, while it may not be the issue, certainly doesn't help.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And it's hard. I can totally sympathize. I can't imagine getting on here to do 49ers content, and my entire comments the entire time I'm doing a live is telling me I'm a trash. Like, dude, you're the worst 49ers content creator ever. Trade this guy to the freaking Rams.
Real quick, Brad. The same thing, like the same advice that I'm giving to Mike McGlinchey. Again, I'm speaking to myself because I've seen an outpouring of that myself on Twitter, right? And this is why I've taken a step back from it all. So I guess the overall message, not only to Mike McGlinchey, is this social media is not productive. If it's not healthy for you, it
counterproductive almost.
It should be walked away from at this point. I looked at myself and I looked at some of my interactions on Twitter, and I don't like the person that I am coming across as. You know why? Because I'm not that person, and I don't like it, and I don't like looking that way. But again, when someone like I or Mike, well, not even I or Mike, because Mike's an NFL player. I'm not trying to compare myself because it's not the same thing at all. Like, it's not at all.
So it's social media and how we all ingest. And
this is just in general with social media. I let 9 things slide, but the one thing that I defend myself on, everybody looks at you and you're like, damn, JC, you need to chill out on that and everything. It's like, well, damn it, you didn't see all the 9 other things that people say. I'm a human too. What
about what I was cooking over here, man?
Right. You're talking crazy about me. Like, you're talking crazy about me and I can't defend myself. It's like, damn, look, man, the East Coast in me comes out. And where I'm from, when somebody says
Aponte for a reason.
When somebody says something crazy to you in New York, you don't let that shit slide. You definitely don't let that shit slide at all, right? So, like, I am trying to work through it in the same way. I can't imagine what it's like for an NFL player. So what I'm saying about social media has to do for everybody. If you are not liking the interactions, if you are not enjoying your time on it, it's time to step away and find something different. So
absolutely. I know we're up against it here too. We got a super chat from Coach, and we'll start to get this thing.
Oh no, we're chilling. Avery's on her iPad or whatever. I don't got to pick nobody up.
If you're good, we good.
We're cooking. Let's keep.
Okay, if we're cooking, then I want to then take the second part of what Gammon said about more touches for Kittle. What are your thoughts on 1 catch, 21 yards against the Chargers? Of course, the catch he does, he makes 2 or 3 guys miss. Gets up, does the first down celebration. We never see from him again. Is there something to, like, what's going on with, like, the usage within the offense when it comes to who gets the ball?
I think that there's always going to be somebody who's left out in the cold, and that's the nature of having this many playmakers. I really think that the people that are most up in arms with the touches are just those damn fantasy football guys, and I'm tired of all of them.
Fantasy guys, those underdog fantasy guys. Dang it, promo code Aponte.
Promo code Aponte.
Damn it.
Yeah, promo code Aponte. Make sure you go on. We have plenty of drafts that we can do during the week and everything as well too. Double your first deposit up to $100. But at the same time, there's going to be somebody who's going to be left out in the cold, right? And I do think that I will give Kyle credit for this. If the situation dictates it, don't force anything, right? If you see Elijah Mitchell is much more effective than Christian McCaffrey, keep feeding Elijah. right?
Oh, yeah.
If and don't just feed Christian McCaffrey because you traded a second, a third, and a fifth for him and just say, well, that's what we traded him for. Like it has to be a little bit of give and take, and it has to be during the situation, what you're looking at. What's the defense giving you? If there's an advantageous situation for one guy, give him the ball. Give that guy the ball. I think that this is a good problem for the 49ers to have, that there are so many studs that not everybody is going to get the ball, especially when what Kyle Shanahan wants to do is run the ball. Kyle Shanahan watched Monday Night Football with the Washington football team. I do not call them the Commanders because I think it was a stupid name. The Washington football team and the Philadelphia
I
Eagles.
honestly like the football team better.
It was way better.
I never
100% better.
thought I would. I thought it was the biggest joke of a name ever. And when they changed it to Commanders, I was like, can you go back to football team?
Right. I love the Washington football team name. But they ran the ball 48 times against the Philadelphia Eagles. Kyle Shanahan literally sat there like, he copied my whole flow, word for word, bar for bar. Like that's exactly what Kyle wants to do. So there are going to be times when someone gets left out in the cold. The good news is none of these guys are selfish. None of these guys are going to push the envelope. And it's fine. And if a win results in the fact that Elijah Mitchell runs the ball a little bit more than Christian McCaffrey, and that means that Christian McCaffrey is going to be healthier going into January and doesn't have to take all those hits, I personally don't have a problem with it. I guess that was a long-winded way to say I'm good with all that.
That's what we're here for. And also, too, I think they ran the football 41 times, right? Like something like that. So right there in that category, like, and I think even Kittle posted about it.
Wait,
like,
hold on. Who is that? Jordan? Is that Jordan Elliott who said that? Where is it? I reviewed the tape from last week, and I noticed a concerning trend with Aponte. I think he's doing.
I don't know the profile picture. It could be. Do we find the burner?
Yo, please. I hope that's Jordan, man. I think he's doing it, dude. That's pretty much all I have is the dice thing.
I think you called out the burner, man.
Yeah, man.
You got my guy.
Yo, I think he's, and for everybody that doesn't get the reference, that's from Knocked Up. Dude, I think he's doing the dice thing too much. And he's like, that's pretty much all he has. And it's, we get it. Yeah. Oh, shit, tricked us. That's so good, Jordan. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was so good. So good. Hey, we like to have fun here on Wednesdays, man. Fun. And especially after a 49ers win, we got to have fun. Come on.
That's hilarious, dude. Good call out. We got you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Jordan Elliott lurking in the chat. You love to see it. But my goodness,
back to the touches thing about the guys. Go, Brad. You can talk.
Back to the I don't even. I'm lost now. I'm just thinking
I'm
thinking about training camp when I'm with Jason Aponte and Jordan Elliott, and it's just quote after quote after quote, and I'm like, I feel like I'm watching the movie in real time.
Get Kittle more touches. That's what we're talking about, right?
There we go.
What are your thoughts on all that? Yeah.
So again, it's multiple reasons. Bracketed coverage. They put a lot of attention his way, but also too, like, I don't know. I think Kyle could do a little bit more. Where's Kyle at? Come on, Only Chance. Let's get it dialed up here a little bit. I think you can get Kittle more touches. I think fair. More targets, at least more opportunities. Obviously, coverage is going to dictate what Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do, and if they're going to take away the intermediate, shallow stuff, which again is his bread and butter, and defensive coordinators are going to take that away first. Yeah, I get it, but let's Kittle do something else. Let's just switch it up. I don't know. I think you get him more opportunities, but he's also great blocking as well. Do you have any final thoughts on the Kittle piece?
No. Again, I think we should be glad that there are guys on this team that are willing to sacrifice those things for the betterment of the team. And again, this is a good problem to have. I mean, if the 49ers were losing games and guys weren't getting touches, I would feel like this conversation would be more heated. But if they're winning games and they notice during the game that one guy is playing better or is gashing another team, you just got to roll with it. Forcing things is where you're going to get into a problem. You're going to get into a problem, right?
It's more of a personal thing. I just want to see Kittle shine. That's what I want to see.
Of course.
I want to see Kittle out here cooking. But he's also doing a good job in the blocking game too, of course, as always. Coach says, okay, but in all honesty, the Niners are doing to themselves. Am I the only one who saw? Oh, this is about the McGlinchey.
He was talking about Mike McGlinchey. Yeah, they
I
did.
saw.
So
I didn't pay attention to it until I think it was
mhm.
sourdough
Sour
Sam.
Death Sam. Shout out to Patrick. Oh my god, like
Yeah,
one of my
Pat
favorite accounts
Pat put that
always.
out, and I was like, oh, and I was like,
Damn,
damn, they
it's
did do that.
it's it's pretty funny, right? Like he talked about, well, we didn't do things right, and then they like cut the mic, and it's like, damn, like y'all are not aware at all, man. Coach is right. I'm like, damn, man, what is it? Like that meme, Nene Leaks. Well, now why am I in it? Like, see, I ain't even do nothing. I get thrown in it.
Just
That's
catching
where we are
strays,
with the
man.
right catching strays for no reason, even in a victory speech. But yeah, I think Coach brings up a good point. I noticed the same thing as well too. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw that too. And again, it's just again, it fits a narrative, and so people are able to attach things, and even if they're not associated, they will make it an association, and that's the world that we live on the internet today.
Mhm.
So it is what it is, man. We've been cooking today. We're hour 15 in. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on, whether it's Chargers, Cardinals, 49ers in general, anything that we haven't touched on yet?
I just think that right now you're watching Kyle Shanahan try to figure out the best way to get everybody the touches that they want, and I think that that's going to be a bit of a process. And I think that there's no hurry to rush to judgment to where this team is going to go when there's 8 weeks of football left to play. And I think a lot of any team's success going forward is going to boil down to health, how hot they are, those sort of things. So as of right now, if the 49ers had to play a game on Sunday, I would be very much concerned with the offense. Very much concerned. But they have 8 weeks to figure that out. So again, your concerns are valid. The conversation shouldn't go away. I'm not talking about anything like I'm not trying to gatekeep and tell you guys like, what you should be discussing or anything like that. I'm simply preaching patience and just I understand it's 10 weeks, kind of the same thing over and over again. There's still 8 weeks to figure it out. A lot of moving parts, guys getting back healthy, new pieces being added. But the 49ers are in a spot where they largely control their destiny, and you couldn't ask for anything more at this point, especially with the way things were looking early on in the year. So yeah, just a little bit of patience. That's it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Really quickly, what did you think about the Greenlaw ejection? Curious to get
I've
your take on that.
I've been someone who said he needs to tone it down, how hard he plays, because at
You
times
have,
his over
yes,
aggressiveness. Yes. That was
which is
complete
fair.
bullshit. That was complete bullshit. Complete bullshit,
I
man.
agree.
I mean, I think the hit from Ward changed the trajectory of where Herbert was going.
He hit him
Greenlaw,
into Greenlaw,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like Greenlaw didn't, look,
and Herbert
penalty,
was a
sure,
runner, right?
right, right. Penalty, sure. You can't hit a quarterback in the head, right? You can't.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you can hit certain quarterbacks in the head, but if that was Lamar Jackson, they would have just said like, oh well, first down, like whatever it is, or anything like that. Yeah, but yeah, it was complete bullshit, man. Like it's a penalty for sure. Like that's the way that it looks. If a
Yeah,
quarterback's head snaps and you get hit like that, or his helmet
right.
turns, I hear that ejection, absolute bullshit, man. But good thing Aziz Al-Shaair was there because he played a hell of a game in this one. And shout out to
Yes,
Fred Warner, who is
yes.
balling out right now. So yeah,
I saw the streets were talking. Jordan Elliott was saying we should be having a
Jordan's trying to get the
conversation
MVP stuff going.
about Fred Warner getting the MVP into the
Mm,
conversation. I mean,
mm.
he was making play after play. I haven't watched the defensive tape yet, but you could feel it like in the stadium. Like Fred Warner was all over the place. He had that beautiful pressure to really obstruct Justin Herbert. It's crazy how I don't feel like we talk about Fred Warner a lot. Like, and he's one of the best players in the NFL. Like the 49ers have so many good players that it's like we haven't talked about Omenihu today. We haven't talked about Bosa today. We haven't talked about Hufanga. We haven't talked about
We don't
Ward.
talk
Like
about Aaron Banks.
we don't talk about Aaron Banks.
Aaron Banks is a dominant guard like
Yeah,
that,
dude.
and
Who would
the
have thought?
offensive line discussion now, obviously this week with the whole Trent Williams thing or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's been largely skewed to just Mike McGlinchey, and it's like it's taking the focus off of the fact that Aaron Banks has been a dog, and I think
Yeah.
again speaks about how deep this team is. But Fred has these stretches, right? Where it's like he kind of lying in the weeds, and then boom, almost like you forgot that I'm still
Yeah.
that guy, and he just
Remember
gets
me?
hot. Yeah, and this is the stretch right here that he's going back to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the 49ers have the pieces. Like, that's a takeaway. I mean, you can make the case that they have MVP calibers on both sides of the football. So moving forward, the 49ers, again, if it comes down to matchups from a personnel to personnel, they have the players. They have the pieces. That's not the problem. What they gotta continue to work on, which again, it's a lot harder than we make it sound sometimes. Like getting 11 guys doing the same thing based on the intricacies that Kyle Shanahan's calling for on an offense. It takes time. It takes reps. They're still rotating Burford and Brunskill at guard. That changes the relationship for both the center and right tackle and how they do certain things. Like there's a lot of nuance that's still going on, and they'll get it figured out. Kyler Murray said today that he initially injured his hamstring against the Minnesota Vikings and played through it before tweaking again in Seattle. I saw that come across. I thought it was going to be a little bit more extensive than that, but hey, sounds like he's still dealing with an injury, so we'll see. But regardless if Kyler Murray's out there or not, Colt McCoy, he knows us well. He put us in a blender. But
coming for you, Colt.
It's up to the 49ers, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the takeaway. It's going to be the takeaway the rest of the year. Like we're going to get on here. We're going to say the same things. Ultimately, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to put a bow. 49ers need to execute and do their thing, right?
Yeah. Play your game, and you can never find a team that will be able to stop you if you're on your P's and Q's and playing your game. And I think that's a lot of 49er fans' frustration through 10 weeks. So completely fair.
Of course. So we got a big game here coming up against the Cardinals. Might feel heading into this game they should motorboat this team. They should punch them in the face.
They should what? Motorboat?
You motorboat.
Oh, you motorboat. You old sailor. You see, we're just dropping all the. See, this is a little bit of insight of what it's like to hang out with Jordan and I, right? Like it's either Wedding Crashers,
100%.
curb your enthusiasm, all those.
You guys put me on Curb, like I just wasn't on game with Curb. You guys put me on game with Curb, like. It's a phenomenal time hanging out with you two. It really is. Like I just get as someone who's kind of chill, like laid back, kick back. I'm just like, man, look at these guys. I don't even have to watch the actual movie. They're doing it for me right now in person, and it's on point.
It's movie, it's Curb, and it's Rich Madrid impressions. That's it. That's
the Rich Madrid impression. Like I don't think I've ever had an actual in-person conversation with Rich Madrid, but I feel like when I do. And like, let's say we go to Seattle and we link, I'm gonna just be like, "This is what I've been like." I've heard him speak, but to like actually like be going back and forth with him, I'm just gonna be like, "Yes, let's go." I can hear the go talking for real this time.
I do it so much that people around me. Like, I'll be like, well, you want to go to Yard House? And they'll be like, Christ, man. And I'll be like, oh, wait, so you just Christ, man, me? Like, how you don't even know the guy? Like,
guilty, man. Just hanging out with you and Jordan, man. I'm sitting here, like, dropping Christ, man. I'm like, what the hell's going on here, dude? What the hell's going on here, man?
I don't care, man. Like, that's how, like, so if I could, like, do, like, a quick rinse, like, when the Trent Williams stuff came across, God, who cares, man? I mean, you're still not going to get past him. I don't really care. Like, that's what I think Rich would say.
You're not even going to beat this guy, man. It doesn't even matter.
I mean, it doesn't matter, man. The guy's an all-pro. Man. The guy's an all-pro. He's got to get in that spot because it's a good spot for him to block from. I mean, I don't really care. God, who cares?
He's the best offensive lineman that's ever existed, man. What are we talking about here, man?
What are we doing here, man?
Oh, yes, I love it. We got a fantasy football question for Jason. Would you trade Najee Harris, second-year running back with the Steelers, and Chris Godwin from the Bucks for Debo in fantasy football? I assume this is redraft. I don't see any dynasty or anything. I assume this is a redraft. What would you do in this case?
Mike, I wouldn't. The variance of what you're going to get week to week from Debo Samuel right now, and I understand Najee is disappointed. I completely understand that portion of it. Najee had a pretty good game this week. I know there was a lot of discussion about Jaylen Warren taking over, but Chris Godwin's heating up. And I think right now you kind of just got to stick with those two. I mean, the only way that I would make a move like this is if he threw in someone else, because you still are giving away someone in Najee Harris who has elite usage. So I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Just because Debo's, you're gonna get weeks where Debo goes off, a touchdown, long touchdown, cool. But then you're gonna get this past week, I just don't see you're not moving guys that I would be targeting right now. If people are worried, I'm on Ross St. Brown. I would try to be getting my hands on Marquise Brown. Hollywood is back, those type of guys. But I wouldn't be trying to give up too much. I think this is a bit of an overpay when it comes to that, even though Najee is completely disappointed, unfortunately.
Right. And I would have to agree with that. I think Debo Samuel right now is kind of he's like a volatile wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, touchdown dependent. You don't
Aiyuk's been much
know.
more consistent.
Yeah, and you don't know what you're going to get out of Debo, especially with CMC, and you kind of get that wide back plus usage. That's kind of diminishing a little bit. He was still used as a runner, and he had a couple good runs. But if you're in a PPR, you're not getting he's not getting peppered, right? So it's you're giving up. And I agree with your point. Godwin, I think right now is the more alpha target. And again, Mike Evans is a great wide receiver, but he is also just throw me the ball and I'm going to go up and get it, where Godwin has a little bit more dimension to his game, I think. So I agree with you. And you're giving up 2 guys for one, a volatile play. So you get an injury at running back, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, I might want Najee back, even though you don't know what he is necessarily week to week. Like you said, he's going to get used. They would be crazy not to. But so, yeah, I agree with you on that one. Promo code Aponte, Underdog
Promo
Fantasy.
code Aponte on Underdog Fantasy. Also, promo code live_sprint_option on the Supporters Club Tuesday. Tuesday on the 22nd, the Sprint Right Option boys, Andrew Pasquini and myself, will be hosting our own show. On the
give us behind the scenes when you told Andrew Pasquini that you guys were going to be going on the 49ers platform to do the Supporters Club. I just want to know, because I'm happy for both you and Pasquini, man.
Yeah, it's so funny because I knew his reaction, right? The lady was like, do you want to bring someone on? And I was like, I think I know a guy. I know a guy that I can bring on to do this.
Someone that I could think of.
I know a guy. And yeah, man, he was so excited, man. He's excited right now. We just tweeted out the link. So if you guys want to join the Supporters Club, you get a bunch of cool stuff. You get to join the show on the 49ers app. It's such, and I don't want to get too sentimental, but it's, you put in all this work, right? You think no one's listening. You think that, a lot of the stuff that you said gets unnoticed. Well, 49ers know who we are, man. They know who we are. And I think that is the coolest thing. When I told my dad, he almost had a tear in his eye. It's things like this I never would have thought were possible when we just loaded up our mic and MacBook and everything. To be actually hosting a show on the 49ers app, just like Brad did, who was the first one to do it, is something that I never could have envisioned. But Andrew is through the roof right now. I told him, you should be proud of yourself, and you deserve this as well too, because you put in all the work as well too. It's not luck. I was so I want you to know that, I told him, I was I want you to make sure that you give yourself credit, because it's so easy to be oh, we're lucky. No, we're not lucky. We worked. That's it.
Yeah, I fucking love that, dude. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Shout out to the Sprint Ride Option boys, Ponte Pasquini. They are going to be on the Supporters Club on Tuesday. I'm going to make sure I get my tail in there. So we're getting the chat lit. That's our Sourdough Squad, Spicy Squad Tuesday Supporters Club. Get in there if you can.
I think we got one more. We got one more
going.
Super chat. One more super chat.
We got one more.
Yep.
This one right here.
Yep.
All right. And we'll end it on this one, unless any of you crazy people out there throw us any more super chats. Double Studio says, I restarted the show but jumped back to live. Trent Talk, my high school football coach wanted us to keep an eye out for stance of the O-line, run or pass. Shout out to your offensive line coach for putting you up on game, man. That's pretty damn cool.
You know what's funny is Any Given Sunday taught me about tendencies, and that's a football movie. So I don't know if you remember, one of the coaches is saying if his knuckles go white, and he's putting his hand in the ground,
loading up front.
Yes. There's always There's always tells. There's always something. Again, I'll bring it back to the baseball analogy. I could tell you, I'm throwing you a fastball. You can't hit it. There's nothing you can do. And with Trent, if that's the case, nothing you can do about it. But it's funny how a football movie. That's my favorite football movie of all time. And it's just funny that something like that is in there. Like, it's so good. It's almost like the closest thing to the NFL. Like, guys are taking IVs in the middle of the game, trying to get themselves good, like all that stuff.
They do a good job showing like how crazy it is, like off the field, and it's actually
Right.
like, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, this is a movie, and then you look at like what Antonio Brown's doing, and you're like, maybe it's not that far fetched at all.
No.
Maybe the NFL is actually the real movie.
So yeah, everybody has something, right? There's always something, right? And again, you know, shout out to Jesse one more time. You know, and the incredible work that he does, man. I want to make sure that it's out there about that. It's just Jesse notices it, everybody else notices it too, and there's just nothing that they could do. Averly, I'm almost done. There's a lot of things that are out there people see. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, one thing or the other. Everybody's always looking for the advantage. So yeah, I mean, it's a good discussion. I think it's a great discussion. I think it's very valid.
What I'm excited to see if anything comes from this discussion, in the sense of, do we all of a sudden put on the tape and we look at Trent Williams and all of a sudden you're starting to see him kind of disguise his stances a little bit or kind of switch it up? It's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure someone's going to ask him about it. So I don't think we're done talking about it, but it has been definitely given the Twitter streets something to talk about.
Brad is just smiling because now people are talking about offensive line play and they are like having to dig in. Everybody. So again, it depends on your perspective when it comes to this. Do you look at this like the sky is falling? I don't think that many people are. Or do you look at this as a learning opportunity? Because there's defensive players chiming in. There's offensive linemen chiming in. And I think this is a beautiful time. This is why football is the most beautiful sport in the world. And this is where you end it, right? Like, this is where we should end probably.
Yeah.
You're never going to learn it all. There's always going to be something to learn, right? Like, you know, and I think that's why I love this game so much, because I'm not done learning. I'll never be done learning. And I think that is the way that everybody should be viewing it.
Yeah. And also, too, to talk about Double Bocito's high school coach, I would say this. Tells in high school are much more impactful than they are like this specific tell, because your run pass options are very limited into really what you're going to be executing. So if you can identify that in high school and you can call out run and pass every single play based on a tendency, I think that's going to help you exponentially more than it would in the NFL. Because like we've talked about with Kyle, I don't think he cares if you know it's a run. I don't think he's trying to disguise it. He's trying to get you to pick the poison of who to key on. And once he decides who you key on, you just play into his game. So I think in high school, we can have a conversation like keying on O-line. Yeah, might be a little bit more impactful. But I think in the NFL, there's so much going on, and the IQ and what they're trying to accomplish and the nuance, it's really hard to just look at, oh, he's running it. Okay, but what does that mean? And are you going to sell out for something, what you think it is, just to get completely worked? So there's a lot of nuance that goes into it, but nonetheless, a great conversation, and a great conversation with you, Jason. This might be one of our longest ones we've done yet, and I don't even know if it felt like that freaking long. It was a great one. Double drops another super chat, says, yeah, I agree. NFL speed is on another level.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Double, and all your high school teams. Hopefully you get to college and keep playing football and expanding your knowledge. I got tons of love for all our young bucks playing football right now in the weeds and trying to make that dream come true. My biggest thing, and I'm getting on a little high horse, if you have an opportunity to play football at the next level, do it. And I do not care if that's community college, because you have no idea what that can lead to. I promise you, as to someone who never thought he would play college ball, to going to community college and getting a scholarship at, like, promise you, just go. You never know what's going to happen. I see a lot of players. I've talked to a lot of players like, man, I'm not good enough. I'm not big enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. Believe in yourself, believe in what you got, and push it to the limit. Work, and you never know what's going to come from it. Don't ever let that doubt seep into your head. That's just my little soapbox rant as we get out of here, Jason. Any parting words before we get out? And again, this guy's going to be on the 49ers platform. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, so Tuesday, make sure you guys are tapped in on the 49ers app. Sign up for the Supporters Club. You'll get $25 off your first year with the promo code live_sprint_option. So that'll be your way to do that. You get a bunch of opportunities to be on these streams and see all the other great content creators that they allow to be on there as well, too. And yeah, thank you guys so much, right? I see the love in the chat, right? And I don't want to highlight, like I try to tell people, sometimes the negative outweighs. Like if there's one person that's negative, don't talk to the one person who's negative. Celebrate the 4 or 5 that are in your way, like, that are here for you. And that's what I wanted to tell you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys tuning in every Wednesday. Appreciate you guys asking, where's the state of the franchise? That shit means so much. And it means a lot that you guys are tapped in with us, man. I want to just be as humble as possible. Again, all this stuff is only possible because you guys listen to us and watch us and things like that. And I love the discussions that come from this, and I love interacting with you guys. So thank you guys again. And that's it, Brad.
Couldn't have said it any better. Where can the good people find more of your work if they are not following already?
Right here for stupid memes, usually making fun of Rams fans and their plight, because I do believe in kicking a man while they're down. I don't know where that came from. I'm not a proponent of, when they go low, I go lower, that sort of thing. And NinersNation.com, you guys can find my stuff on there. There's usually one article per day from me on there, one way or another. So yeah, I have a pretty interesting article coming out, and I'll tease it real quick. What will end up being the bigger loss for the 49ers down the stretch? I mean, down the years. Will it be DeMeco Ryans or Mike McDaniel? And I think that's going to be an electric article for it. So make sure you guys tap in with that. NinersNation.com is where you'll find me. And then obviously like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Bully Ball on Niners Nation Podcast Network. We're working, man. Like there's a lot of work out here. We're cooking. This is the best time of the year.
Absolutely. We're in the thick of it, man.
Yeah.
Double dropped another super chat on us. Said I played with the alumni until I was 26 with scrimmage colleges for fun and high schools as a service to them with pads and all. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, it would be hella fun to put some pads on and go play some high school.
You miss it. And let me tell you something real quick. I mean, I know we keep saying that we're gonna dip out of here, but this love affair between Brad and I started in Mobile when we first met at the Senior Bowl. And he and I, a few of our friends, they went out to the bar, but he and I sat there and we talked ball. Right. And I wanted to learn the intricacies of offensive line because, again, Brad knows I love watching wide receivers. He loves watching the trenches. That's why when we go to camp, what are you looking at? What am I looking at? And then we cross-reference like what we're seeing. Right. Like, and that's the best way to do it is sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. Give me a second, Rivalry. Here's the thing. Brad, with the little amount of strength that he did, we were talking about it. He's like, go ahead and rip at me here or whatever. This man put his hands on me, and I'm not scared of anybody in this world. No man, right? That is not my father. But if this man wanted to, he would have thrown me out of the damn club. And that just goes to show you that the man is a teddy bear. Do not cross this man. And he definitely has that still in the tank for him. So, yeah, I would love to see you get out there and toss somebody apart.
Bro, these hands, hey, they still do damage, bro. I'm just saying. I'll let you know right now, man. It's crazy. One of the wildest things of playing offensive line is the reaction. Like my reactions to things it's like I feel like a ninja sometimes. It's absolutely wild. But that night was legendary. I'll never forget it. Showing Jason the push-pull technique. I was like, Jason, put all your weight on me.
He's like, Jason, and I was like, all right. And he's just like, I'm like, oh, he almost Jazzy Jeff me out of the Airbnb, bro. Like this
is what you do. This is like
those puppies still got fire in them, man.
Absolutely. But I love you guys. This was a great show. Thank you all for sticking around. If you did, start to finish, you already know the routine. Grab your cookie on the way out. We appreciate you guys. As always, tapping in with both Jason and I, whether we're doing content together or separately, doesn't matter. We appreciate all the support. I think what we're starting to also kind of see, we got an ecosystem here. The 49ers content creation community, whether we don't have to vibe all the time, but we're gonna interchange and intermingle. And as long as we all have the same kind of outlook on, let's just go out and do our work and get it done. And do it together, even if we don't agree on whatever it is. Like, just get the work done. Let's go. We're all grinded. We're all grinded towards a dream and towards something that we love. And you got to be able to respect that.
And I do think that 49er fans, while people say that this is a congested space because of so many people that have YouTube shows, I would say you're blessed because you have your pick and choose whatever it is. You want hardcore film analysis, you got guys. You want opinionated guys, you got it. You want guys who are passionate and ranting, you got it. Like, you get to pick and choose. This is a beautiful time for all content creators, and it's a beautiful time for 49er fans to be able to pick and choose what it is that they want to watch. And that's something that 49er fans, I know you want to watch ESPN and you want to hear them talk about the team, but they'll do it for 2 minutes and they'll just get off. You have your pick and choose of being able to hear about your team in different perspectives. And I think it's a beautiful thing for everybody.
Absolutely. And we got a super chat to take us out. We the best fans out there. I don't disagree. 100%. One thing you can't take away from the San Francisco 49er fan base, they are the most passionate. Say what you want about them. They are the most passionate. And we couldn't do what we do if it wasn't.
They might cook you. They might cook you. They might support you. You know, you never know. You know, and you know, you don't know.
You might get absolutely cooked, or they're raising you up.
I will say this: the 49ers fans have thickened my skin because another fan base thinks they can come in here and talk crazy to me. Man, my own fan base cooks me on a regular, bro. You think I'm scared of you and your fan base in any way? No, man. Like, I'm battle tested, just battling my own fans. Like, what are you talking about, bro? I don't care. Like, one Rams fan comes in here, you think you doing something? No, man. I got my own fan base frying me on a daily, man. On this, so that's it. I'm good.
We got it, man. We're built for this. We got a long ways to go. We're still working our way. But again, as always, appreciate you guys. That's it for us. We're out of here. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see you.